Blessed be. Today is July 3rd, and it is National Compliment Your Mirror Day. A lifestyle awareness, more like, kind of mental health holiday aimed to get you to reflect on your reflection and show some appreciation for what you see back. Reading about this, one of the things it suggests, for this holiday is to go stand in front of a mirror and compliment yourself. So I went and decided I would go do that right before I did this. And I went to the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror. I told myself nice things, that I've got what it takes, and I bring value, and I have so much to offer, all these things. And it really works at making you feel better. And I suggest go give it a try. Go look in the mirror and compliment yourself because you deserve it. And since it's Friday, I have no work today, which the nice part is it's going to allow me to do my weekly review here earlier in the day. So we saw from last, what was it, Sunday, I made the video talking about the weekly preparation. Well, now that it's Friday, it's time to review. And when it comes to review, I have my sheets that I filled out over the week. I've got some of the things that I've worked on. I might take some notes on here about, the project. And one of the things I also like to make sure I do with this is add on the extra activities that I accomplished, the phone calls that I made, the events that I got scheduled. So now, at the time of weekly review, I get to pay attention and value their achievement. And to do that, we have the 8th sheet of the week, because I have one for every day. And with this, I ask a couple questions. What got done? So this is where I go through and kind of rewrite in a little checklist form all my accomplishments. The next question is what did not get done and why not? And that's super important to evaluate. So there will be items, little action items that I come up with throughout the week, and I just don't get to them. So they need to be listed and evaluated as to what stopped me. Was it timing? Was it just a low priority? Was I waiting for a resource? So that just information to get captured. Then after that, we've got the section for what it is we're looking forward to getting done. So what needs to be done? You could take the list from above, find out if the item is still actionable, because some actions have time frames. So you may have missed whatever opportunity of things up here. So not everything automatically gets moved over to what needs done. And then with this also, you could start adding in any other thoughts that you have about things for the upcoming week that you might want to get in. The next question, little guy. I'm just interested in finding one thing. But what is it I should stop doing? To look back at the week and to see if there's some sort of habit or action that I am taking that I should remove from my repertoire. I love this reflection question because it's not just about what you bring in, it's what you let go of. And the last question. This one's hard. What did I learn? What can I do with this knowledge? So as I look back on whether it's something I did get done, or maybe it's something that didn't get done, either one of those situations may have offered the opportunity for me to grow. So that question is really set there for me to apply learning to my life experience. Because if we are learning from our experience, when do we study? So that's what I've got this one in for. So I'm going to go through and read my checklists, my daily sheets, fill out my form, and we'll cover that when it's done. Okay, so I have got my form filled out, and as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that to look at. You know, starting at the top, you know, we've got the things that got accomplished. These are the appointments that I made, social things that I did, and, you know, just some really good accomplishments. You know, dinner with family, and I actually had to redo the whole tracker because I couldn't find my original Excel sheet. So I went through and kind of just recreated it. But this week, since this is the first week using it and doing this review, I realized something that I need to add back in, which I keep on there, noted that I have Toastmasters on Wednesdays. So since it is a repeat event, it's always on the list. So I'm going to go back and get that added in. And I made it to the gym all 5 days. I am very proud of myself for that. I had a doctor's appointment and our Toastmasters officer meeting. I also messaged the new Toastmaster mentee that I have been assigned. So I gave them my number. I don't have their contact information yet. So when we do, you know, get together, I look forward to just helping them navigate the beginning steps of the Toastmasters process. It can be a little overwhelming. There's a lot involved. So my goal is to really help simplify the process for who my mentee is and get them to, you know, really break it down into small, manageable pieces. And that way you can stay engaged longer because, and I've got a whole opinion on this, as to why people, you know, join Toastmasters. Everybody's got their own reason, but not a lot of people stay. It's hard to commit to something as an adult. So you've really got to be aware of the value you're receiving for that time of the commitment. And yada, yada, yada. Okay, what did not get done? I did not schedule the vet. I am supposed to call. I need to get a medication refill for both Jimmy and Lucy. And for one of the medications, it's going to be an injection. I've asked if I could give the injection to the cat here at the house as opposed to me taking the cat to the vet. Jimmy's going to be 16 this year. And he does not like car rides. So I would like to just, eliminate the need for that. An injection, I've given an injection before, so I imagine as long as I have help holding the cat down, it is something I can manage. We'll see. What else did not get done? Technically, it was the Toastmasters officer meeting transcripts. We meet online for our officer meeting, and I have just changed. I have just changed my officer role. We've had elections. It's, that cycle time. I am no longer the VP of PR. I am now the club secretary. And with that, at the officer meeting, one of my jobs is to take meeting minutes. And with the advent of modern technology, you can record meetings, you can get transcripts, and now AI will summarize, and that is a wonderful feature. And while I hit to enable the transcripts, I happen to still have a copy of the agenda in front of me and still took some rough notes about, again, what you would type into minutes, which I'm really glad I did. Because at the end of the meeting, when it was time to go, all I did was hit close. And I didn't save the transcripts. I don't know if Zoom will save them somewhere automatically. I tried to go back in and see if I could find something. I really didn't. So if you know that it will save those transcripts somewhere, let me know in the comments below, because I'll go look. But I did have my hand notes to send to the group. Not my best first attempt at secretariat, but definitely not the worst. So I was there, I was present, I tried, and this is how we learn. The other thing that did not get done, it was something I had written on my weekly sheets of an action item I wanted to do, which is to reach out to my existing Toastmaster mentees and check in with them. Where are they at? What's their next speech on? Do they have a topic in mind? I like to encourage people, write about what you want to learn about. Speak up about what you're experiencing right now. Whether it's, a problem you want to solve or a blessing you want to celebrate. There's never a lack of topics. But making sure that, again, this goes back into people leaving, is you stop seeing that value of your efforts to participate. But if you are spending this time translating your interests into something tangible, you can get a high return on your investment of time. So that's why I encourage that. So then it leads to the next section. What needs to get done? And this is where, again, not everything made it down to this list, because the transcripts, unless somebody leaves a comment that I might find them somewhere, are just gone and it's in the past. Just move on. But now we've got the other things to do. So when I am done recording and posting, I am calling the vet today to get things scheduled. And I am going to find out how to prioritize reaching out to my mentees. Because when it comes to the fact that I did not call them, this goes back to the why not. I wrote down social anxiety. That when I think, like, hey, I'm going to call so and so and check in, that there's some negative voice in my head talking about, I don't know, they're probably busy. They don't want to, you'll scare them off. You'll make it worse. Just, I don't even know what it is. I was really trying to think about that. What is that resistance telling me? And I'm not in the moment, so I don't know, but I'm aware now. So that leads, you'll see, further down on this list. But back to things that need to get done, which is reach out to mentees. The other thing I want to spend time doing is to really clearly express to myself. I will write this down. I will turn this into something I can see. And it's setting the personal expectations I have for myself for being in this Toastmaster secretary role. So something that I'm going to have on there is that attending officer meetings, I'm taking meeting minutes and recording and saving any transcripts or recording before we close the meeting. And that's the kind of clear expectation I'm going to notate. I'm going to figure out, what do I need to do outside of meetings? Where do we have current resources that I need to use? Things like that. Where do I put stuff for people to reference? So I'm going to get to sit down and spend time on that. The other thing that I want to do, I want to plan a plant sale because I've got lots of plants. I have a few too many plants. I like making little babies with the plants and watching them grow. I was getting some flower pots from my next door neighbor at their job. I'm still not sure, I think they're in the sales, but they have they would have these flower pots left over, and they were like the sample pieces or something like that. But either way, he was allowed to take them, and he'd just give them to me. So now I'm making babies. I've got the pots to put them in. It's great, lush and growing, but now there's just a lot. So I just want to do a kind of like a garage sale and advertise it, nothing expensive, but it's going to take planning. I have to decide on the date. I have to figure out marketing, just all those things to set aside the proper plants that I want to sell versus the ones I know I'm going to keep, because they're not all to go. And then the last thing that I want to do on here for the things I want to get done is to research and see if I could get put onto the calendar an improv class. It's just another form of communication, and I love studying communication. It's so important on how we get our thoughts out. So they're local here in town. I've just got to, there's my planner. So see the dates, see them on the planner. I'm going to speak with my husband and, do we have things going on this Saturday? Because if not, I'd like to take, one of these options. So I'm excited for that. Those are the things that I know I want to get done. What should I stop doing? Avoid calling someone because some negative message is in my head. I spent some time thinking about this question. And that moment where I decide not to pick up the phone and make the call, that I am doing a disservice. And that goes into, what did I learn from this? What did I learn this week? And what can I do with this knowledge? Well, what did I learn is I'm willing to miss out on helping someone stay on track. And that was kind of awakening. There's some cognitive dissonance in that, because I know how much I enjoy getting to help someone, just stay focused and set their intention for progress. Because you either design your life or it happens by default. That's up to you. And I know that I have always appreciated it when somebody has called me to keep me on track with stuff. So any predispositioned negative factors, I know they're not even real, because I know I like it when someone calls me. It's not burdensome, even if they're busy. You feel special that somebody thought of you, and I am denying them that because of that moment, some sensation. And it's interesting when you study this, is that you will physically feel a sensation, and then your body will process it into an emotion. So my goal is to become aware of that physical sensation, that moment when it's like, I'm going to call so-and-so and see where they're at. And then listen to my body, see if I can interpret where something feels uncomfortable. And then acknowledge it, embrace it, accept it, and hopefully get myself to take the action, with the awareness that I am stopping myself, and they deserve the call. So that's what I get out of my weekly review. I love this process. It provides a lot of value. I get to reappreciate all the things that I actually got done. Because when you get things done, they're just mentally off your checklist and you go about your day. And at the end of the week, you can often reflect like, oh, all the things that I did not get done. And you could feel so drained from that. But when you coincide it with intentionally acknowledging all the stuff you actually got done, those things that don't weigh so heavy. And you can be proud of all that you did. So my next step, since it's Friday, is to start doing the next week's sheets, which I have here. So tomorrow, like, there is an event scheduled, and it's my creative work hours movie day. So I'm a part of an online creative group that does kind of like work hours together. And occasionally we do social stuff. There are some people in the group who are willing and able to kind of host these watch parties for us to just get together and watch the same movie. And even though we're all remote, this is a global group. We're all over the world. And just kind of hang out and have some company. And tomorrow's movie is going to be Independence Day. And then I am going to, oh, actually, I already have a bunch of stuff already filled in from last week. I've got work meetings on here. I've got the gym scheduled in. Not sure if anything else has popped up, but I might already be in good shape. So that's nice. And with that, I feel a little better moving on to next week. So I can move with intention to design the life I want. If you found anything useful or entertaining, please subscribe. Don't forget to like this video. And I look forward to the next time. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again.